welcome to the Environment This Week series section of Drishti IAS. I'm Aisha, and in today's episode we will be covering topics which are important from General Studies paper 3, that is environment and ecology. So basically the idea is same as we always do, that we have taken topics from the current affairs and then we will be delving deeper into the static portion of it, and in the end there are few practice questions related to the topics. So let's begin. So the news that we have picked up this time is the Olive Ridley turtles. India, why is it a snake bite capital? Wayanad Sky Island bird survey which has been done, and the Union Carbide waste disposal issues. So these are the 4 topics. Before starting, let me give you important information, and that is on the occasion of the Republic Day, Drishti IAS has come up with a 40% discount on all online courses, pen drive courses and test series. And you can also get 25% discount on the Drishti Publications book and the DLP. And what you have to do is, you have to give us a call at 87501 and this offer is from 24th to 26th of January. That is, the last day is 26th of January. Download the Drishti Learning app and this is all what you have to do. So now let's begin. So the first topic that we will be discussing is the Olive Ridley turtle. As the season for the breeding of the Olive Ridley turtle has come, so this is one of the most important environmental issue. So Olive Ridley turtles. So the recent turtle death in Tamil Nadu has been an alarm for the environmentalists and the conservationists. So around 300 to 350 dead Olive Ridley turtles have been found along the coast of Tamil Nadu, especially around Chennai. So this is the news why it came. And then about the Olive Ridley turtle. So basically we will not be studying everything about it. What we will be talking about is what can come in the exam, what can be asked in the examination. So Olive Ridley turtles. So this is a type of turtles very famous for its breeding type. So these turtles are carnivorous and are named after their olive colored shells. So they are carnivorous. It means that they are one of the highest predators. So they are carnivorous in nature and are named after their olive colored shell, and they also depict, or they can also talk about the health of the ecosystem because they are carnivorous. They sit at you can say one of the topmost positions in the food chain and the food web, and it is very important that how the food web is actually performing. Then they are famous for their unique mass nesting which is known as Aribada, Arribada. So they are famous for their unique mass nesting called Aribada, where thousands of females gather on the same beach to lay their eggs. It means many means not in hundreds, the number goes into thousands. So they all come together and breed. Then the habitat is, they are found in the warm waters of the Pacific, Atlantic and the Indian Oceans. So it is not that they are only found in India. No, they are found in other places also, like the Pacific Ocean, Atlantic Ocean and the Indian Ocean, and the prerequisite is that the water has to be little warm. Then the Gahirmatha Marine Sanctuary. The Gahirmatha Marine Sanctuary in Odisha. Be very clear with regard to this name. Very important. Very important. You can star mark this name. If it is about the Olive Ridley turtle, it has to be the Gahirmatha Marine Sanctuary in Odisha. And it is known as the largest rookery for sea turtles in the world, that is a group of breeding animals. So largest breeding for the Olive Ridley turtles takes place at the Gahirmatha Marine Sanctuary, and this Gahirmatha Marine Sanctuary is situated in which state? Odisha. Now the conservation status for the Olive Ridley turtle. So the Wildlife Protection Act 1972, it comes under Schedule 1. IUCN Red List, it comes under vulnerable category and sites under Appendix 1 because they are vulnerable in nature as of now. So that is fine, but it must not enter into the critically endangered or the endangered category. So this was the first topic. Second topic is the capital of snakebite, and that is India. So India is considered to be the capital of snakebite because the number of snake bites that takes place in India is one of the largest, and the problem is that this problem of snake bite, which is so large in India, is not that much recognized. So snake bite crisis in India sees around 58,000 deaths every year due to snake bites. So every year, in a year, around 58,000 people lose their life because of the snake bites. And India is considered to be the capital of snake bites. Then rural areas, especially people involved in agricultural work, are more vulnerable to snake bites as compared to other people, because if we talk about the places where the chances of finding a snake is very high, so these are the places which are, you can say, has a lot of greenery and are involved with the digging purposes, and there are sand and greenery together which is there. So agricultural work is the most prone area, you can say. And encounters with the snake increase during the monsoon season. According to a study between 2001 and 2014, around over 1.2 million deaths occurred due to snake bites, highlighting the scale of this problem. So around 14 years, 1.2 million, it means around 12 lakh people have lost their lives because of the snake bite. Then barriers to assessing anti-venom. Now, it is not that every snake is poisonous in nature. No, every snake is not poisonous in nature, and majority of the times the snake is not poisonous in nature. But the problem is that whenever the snake is poisonous in nature, people are not able to get the anti-venom. Now, getting to a place where anti-venom is present is difficult, because anti-venom is not present in every district, or you can say in every hospital. It needs to be transported from one place to another place. So India is the world's largest producer of anti-venom, yet many rural areas face significant challenges in assessing timely treatment because of the availability of the anti-venom and also because of the lack of infrastructure. Logistical issues such as lack of cold storage, electricity supply and inadequate medical facilities make anti-venom ineffective. So logistical issue is a very big problem. Due to high production cost, anti-venom is expensive for the poor population, further making this problem of snake bite even more severe. Now what happens is that it is not that every snake catching community gets the anti-venom. No, it is few of the communities which are responsible for getting the anti-venom. Like for example, the Irulas in the Tamil Nadu. So they catch majority of the snakes and the anti-venoms are made from it. But the problem is that timely transportation to other places does not take place. Then innovation in anti-venom research. So that is new technologies such as recombinant DNA and AI designed synthetic anti-venom promise safer and more effective treatment. So now with the help of artificial intelligence, maybe the technique in the coming future for anti-venom becomes more accessible to the poor population also. Then researchers are working on region-specific antivenoms, keeping in mind the diversity of snake venom in India. Now what happens is, now imagine that there is a particular type of snake venom, antivenom, which is present in a particular area. But the snake bite which has taken place is of some other species. Now what? Same antivenom cannot be used for everyone. Different antivenoms will be used for different snake bites. Now that is also a problem, that you need to have the right thing at the right place for the right treatment. Then portable diagnostic tools and venom detection kits are also being developed to guide the correct use of anti-venom in critical situations. Portable diagnostic tools, so that the doctor can reach the place where snake bite has taken place at the right time. Now the third point is the Wayanad Sky Island Bird Survey. So the bird survey has been done. So a 3-day bird survey which was organized by the South and North Wayanad Forest Divisions, Aralam Wildlife Sanctuary and the Hume Center for Ecology and Wildlife Biology. And this was conducted by the Sky Islands of the Western Ghats, and the survey covers around 15 sky islands which spans from southern part of Wayanad to the Ambulapara or to the other surrounding areas. So it is basically about the bird survey. So the discovery of rare and endangered species of birds also took place, and the survey recorded around 144 bird species including the Humes, warbler, nilgiri, Shlokli, Eurasian crag martin, critically endangered red-headed vulture, very important. This can be asked in the examination that what is the IUCN status of it. and the recently described Banasura chilapan. And then a rare group of 60 olive-backed pipits, which is a migratory bird, was a special highlight of the survey. Now, migratory bird means that the bird does not belong to that particular area. It has come from some other area, and as a migration means moving from one place to another place. So, the birds have also moved from one place to another place. Then importance of conservation and future plans. So that is, experts emphasize the importance of preserving Wayanad's unique mountain ecosystem, especially for the endangered Banasura chilapan. So Banasura chilapan is endangered in nature, and how important the mountains of the Wayanad is, because the bird ecosystem that is developed in those mountains is very, very rich. The survey suggested that Banasura chilapan can be declared a national park to ensure the protection of the entire mountain range, as these areas are not currently part of any protected category. So the national park tag must be given to the Banasura chilapan. Then comes the next topic and the last topic, and that is the Union Carbide waste disposal issue. So the famous Bhopal gas tragedy which took place, methyl isocyanide gas which came out and killed so many people. So the waste disposal plan and protest in Pithampur. So how the waste disposal plan is in news. So the Madhya Pradesh government has sent around 358 tons of hazardous waste from the defunct Union Carbide plant in Bhopal to be incinerated in the Pithampura industrial area. So the defunct Union Carbide plant in Bhopal, so the government has sent around 358 tons of hazardous waste from that area to the Pithampur industrial area. So the waste disposal plan, which was supposed to be carried out at a treatment, storage and disposal facility, that is TSDF, a disposal plan needs to be carried out. Then it is facing opposition from the local residents who fear harmful emissions from the incineration process. Now this is always a danger, that if the harmful chemicals comes out during the incineration process, then the problem will be faced by the local resident of that area, because if the chemical comes out in the open air, then it becomes even more dangerous, because then the capacity to harm the people or capacity to affect the people, number of people, it increases many folds. So as of now, the local residents are opposing it. The Madhya Pradesh High Court has given the government a 6-week deadline to dispose of the waste. Now, composition of waste and environmental concerns. So the waste from the Union Carbide plant, it contains hazardous substances. So it does contain hazardous substances like naphthalene, carbaryl residues and other chemicals that were used in fertilizer production. So they are harmful for the human health also. And a test which was conducted in 2014 indicated that the incineration process had no adverse impact on public health or the environment, with emission remaining within the standard limits. So this is what the test which was conducted in the year 2014. But now this is not 2014, this is 2025, and this is the reason that why the local population is opposing it. Then the future steps and incineration process. Due to protest and misinformation, the government has temporarily halted the incineration process. So the incineration process as of now is on a hold because of the opposition from the local people, and authorities are trying to restore the trust of the people that the incineration process will not cause any harm to their health. Then these are the 4 topics, and now it is time for the practice questions, and I will be asking you 5 practice questions, and like always, you people will give me the answer in the comment section. So how are you going to give the answer is question number 1, 2, 3 and 4, and the answer of it in front of it. So first question is, what is the conservation status of the olive ridley turtle on the IUCN red list? Endangered, critically endangered, extinct or vulnerable? Second question, what is the major issue with the availability of anti-venom in India? Excessive supply of anti-venom, illegal export of medicines, inequality in access and mismanagement, or Indian people do not want to use anti-venom. Now, third question. Who organized the recent bird survey on the Wayanad Sky Islands? That is Hume Center for Ecology and Wildlife Biology, South Wayanad and North Wayanad Forest Division, or the Aralam Wildlife Sanctuary, or all of the above. Now the last question. What type of facility is being used for the disposal of Union Carbide waste from Bhopal in Pithampur? Recycling facility, treatment, storage and disposal facility, waste processing center, or only storage facility? So these are the four questions. So give me the answer in the comment section. And that's all for today. Thank you so much for watching. Till we meet next time, keep reading, keep writing, and keep subscribing to the channel. Thank you.
For more informative content, like, share and subscribe, and do not forget to press the bell icon to get the notifications.